When the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, he said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Judges 6 verse 12, hearing the voice of the Lord. Key number 1. When the Lord speaks, I keep on repeating this again and again. The voice of God confirms the presence of the Lord in your life, even if you're not aware. Look here. When the angel of the Lord, this was the pre-incarnation, because if you read verse 14, the Lord turned to him and he said, notice here, when the Lord speaks, I do not know he will speak to you about what, but by him speaking, it confirms his presence, his active presence. By the way, many people walk with the Lord in passive presence, but when he speaks, the voice of God translates the presence of God from passiveness into proactiveness. So you need the voice of God so that you can be able to know that the Lord has always been with you. All this wrong. Number 2, mighty warrior. Every time you shall hear God speaking, the voice of God is geared towards making you understand your inner potential. Many people are giants inside. Many people are the hope of this world. Many people are solutions to the society. Many people are formulas of excellence. But they have not been able to discover who they are inwardly. So why do you need the voice of God? It now makes plain to you your inner self, who you are. The angel of the Lord calls him and says, "Mighty warrior." Hi, how? And here I'm hiding. I'm afraid of the Midianites. I'm shaking because of fear. How do you call me mighty warrior? Because the voice of God will always address your possession and your personality in the presence of God. The way you are, the will of God be done here on earth that is being done in heaven. So the voice of God speaks of the will of God in heaven to you. That is when you notice many people, when God spoke, they were able to know their true identities. They were able to know the energy they carry. And from there, everything changed to date. Look at something else here. If you can look at verse 14, the Lord turned to him and he said, "Go in the strength you have and save Israel out of the Midianites' hand. Am I not sending you?" When God speaks, the voice of God launches you, commissions you. You cannot hear the voice of God and you continue in the state of inaction, idleness, redundancy, futility of life. No. The moment you hear that was God speaking, that voice creates an action of a movement. There will always be a move from point A to point B. There will always be that. And this is a key. When the voice of God speaks, it will always release the dimension of go, commissioning. And then it says, in the strength you have. You get me? So the voice of God will always make you understand what are you carrying, the power, the energies, the vibrations that you carry inside yourself. And this is what helps you to know that you are not normal and ordinary and natural as you think you are. And he says, and save the Midianites. And save Israel from out of the Midian's hands. Why do you need to hear the voice of God? Because the voice of God will, with clarity, define your mission. The moment you hear God this way, even if I do not know what He will say, but from that moment, your mission, your purpose in this world becomes plain and clear. You no longer continue trying to keep on testing, trying this or trying that. No. When you hear God, you become specific. You become classified. And now you pursue a specific front until you acquire it. So God speaking is more important even than seeing. He said, so mission is made clear. Okay. Can you look here? Verse 16. The Lord answered, I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites together. So when God speaks, He confirms His partnership, His co-working with you. And more than that, He says, you will strike down all the Midianites together. Why do you need to hear the voice of God? Because the voice of God releases into you the energy of triumph and conquest. The moment you hear God saying whatever He will say, that voice will leave you with the energies of victory and success. You will be able to subdue what has been subduing you before. You'll be able to defeat what has been defeating you. You'll be able to overwhelm that which has been overwhelming you. Because the voice of God will release into you the energy of conquest and triumph. Can you look at it again? Still this conversation of God. In verse, we can highlight verse 23. But the Lord said to him, peace, do not be afraid. You are not going to die. Two things, three things. When the voice of God speaks, it creates an atmosphere of peace. A very conducive environment. And then he says, do not be afraid. The voice of God creates in you tonics of boldness, confidence, and courage. And then the voice of God, He says, you are not going to die. The voice of God guarantees preservation of life. The moment you hear God has said something to you, immediately death has been suspended. Whether it is natural death or life dimensions death is suspended at that. Just that. You're not going to die. You can't hear the voice of God and die. Hakuna. That voice carries wrong life preservatives. So go and hear God. And then He says, the same with the Lord. In verse 25, that same night the Lord said to him, take the second bull from your father's household and tear down your father's altar to Baal and cut down the Asherah poles. Then build a proper kind of an altar to the Lord your God. Another two things. Why do you need God to speak? Because the Lord, when He speaks, He will reveal to you the strongholds of obstacles in your life. And He will tell you what to do. Number two, why do you need to hear God? The Lord will teach you how to build a platform of excellence. How to build a platform from which you can operate from to excel in life. How did Gideon position himself to hearing the voice of God? Number one, we can say it was the inner self. If you look at that whole story, the Lord is addressing the inside of Gideon. But where was he? He was at the oak, under the oak in Ophrah. Where did the Lord find him? In Judges 6 and verse 11, he was under the oak in Ophrah that belonged to his father Joash the Abiezrite. So make sure you are under the oak. Make sure you are